Hi there, and welcome to Module 2, Toxicity. And this is one of my favorite modules, and it's one I spend a lot of time on in terms of working on it in my life. Today, I'm going to have a question which will be a kind of guiding light for us, which is, what can I do right now to reduce the number of toxic insults I am exposing my body to, both intentionally and unintentionally, and to help my body's natural process of removing toxins from itself? You see, all your body wants to do is to keep you well. It's not broken. You're not broken. You haven't caught something. You haven't got something. Now, before we get started on this, I want to offer you something which really helped me, which is how to get what I want in my life more quickly. And it's a really simple thing. You just have to raise your standards. If you raise your standards, you will change your life. And the easiest way I found to do that was something that I came across with Tony Robbins when I was watching some of his stuff and reading some of his books, which is replace the shoulds in your life and make them musts. You must do this. And if you will do that, so you stop shoulding on yourself and you make things a must, then that is how you are going to succeed. It's ridiculously simple and it's incredibly powerful. So before we dive into this, let's have a little recap on what we've learned so far, because this is now relevant to the issue of toxicity. And this is particularly what we picked up yesterday from Dr. Amanda Vollmer and from Dawn Lester. We learned that germ theory is simply a theory and it's not proven. And if you're interested in learning a lot more about that, in your workbook, you'll find a link to my website on the principles, and there is a lot of information I've put together there, including a lot of video content, etc., a lot of which has been banned on YouTube. So we learned that your body has somatids and they are pleomorphic. They can become bacteria, mold, yeast, fungus, whatever they need to do, and that they form an absolutely critical part of your body's cleanup crew. They are not causal, they are there to serve you. Rather like, instead of people thinking that because firemen are at the scene of a fire that they caused the fire, they're actually there to do some good. We talked about terrain. Terrain is everything. If you have a goldfish that's sick, the first thing you do you go and give it some pharmaceutical drugs to dissolve in the water? Do you give it some injectables, some shots? Or do you change the water? Well, of course, you change the water. We learned that viruses have never, ever been isolated, which in my head then means it calls into question what they actually are and do they even exist, because they're an interesting little scapegoat. So you might want to have a look into that as well. And interestingly, during the whole COVID nonsense, all you ever saw on images on the television were graphics that were generated. There was never actually a picture of anything. And I've written to numerous government officials and people in that ilk about the whole thing, asking for proof of isolation, and they said it doesn't exist anywhere. We learned that cancer is no different. It's simply another one of your body's processes to try and keep you alive in response to a severe toxic issue. And it's a last-ditch attempt to get your attention so that you can make some changes. We learned that symptoms are the end of the process. They are not the cause of the process. They are involved in the process, and you should not suppress them at all. So I would think about that in future, to support your body, but do not suppress its expression of the problem. And basically, it's really simple. If you get more toxins in than your body can get rid of, it has to store them somewhere. So think about this in your house or where you live. Instead of emptying the garbage or the rubbish bin outside so that the garbage man or the rubbish man can take it away, you simply put it into a closet or a cupboard. And you keep doing that over and over and over again, days and days and days, weeks and weeks, months and months, years and years, decades and decades. At some point, that horrible rotting mess will come pouring out and probably take the house. That's exactly, in a rough nutshell, is what's happening in your body. So I've got an interesting graphic here that I'm going to grab and I'd like to show you. So this is the process of detoxification and elimination. Toxins enter your body through your lungs, stuff you breathe in or inhale, like smoke or vape as an example, or off gases of chemicals, of furniture, of cleaning products, etc. Air fresheners, so-called air fresheners, perfumes. They go through your skin, stuff you put on your skin, stuff you expose your skin to, be it sun creams, lotions, after suns, moisturizers, shower gels, all sorts of other things people put on the skin, or through the gut and intestines, stuff you eat and drink. Your liver is the primary organ of detoxification in your body, and then toxins exit through the skin, through the kidneys, through the colon, and through the lungs. So just have a think about this. When you get sick, your body's only got 4 ways that it can get stuff out of it, isn't it? So do you ever get skin eruptions like measles or chicken pox, or do you get the sweats? Kidneys, you ever had a sore back when you're getting rid of something, like you've drunk too much, as an example? Or other things, the colon, ever had diarrhea? Ever noticed that you go to the toilet pretty much every day and you release a whole bunch of waste material that way? It's not just finished food that you've processed, it's all sorts of other things. And your lungs. You know, you can get irritation stuff in your lungs that cause you to have a cough. The other thing that you can do as well is you can be coughing stuff up because you are cleansing your blood, because that's the interface. And there's an interesting story I read about coyotes, that the wise old coyotes, when they realize they've been poisoned by the trappers, they run and run and run as hard as they can, because they know if they can run hard enough and fast enough and far enough, that they, on the blood-lung interface, will basically breathe out the toxins from the blood and they won't die. How interesting is that? Now, if you have an excess of toxins, like we talked about in the cupboard or closet suggestion I gave you before, you've got 2 types, really. You have fat-soluble toxins, things like pesticides, hormones, and heavy metals, things like aluminium. And they're stored in the fat cells, in the bone marrow, in the liver, and the central nervous system in the brain. Interestingly, Alzheimer's has links to aluminium, and aluminium is a fat-soluble one, so it makes sense it would go and lodge itself in the place you don't want it, which would be the brain, as an example. And for aluminium, think about aluminium cooking utensils, water-soluble toxins, things like nicotine, vapors, and other chemicals go in the joints, the blood, the tissues, and the muscles. And here are side effects of toxicity, but they're actually just direct effects, and to show you've got a toxic problem. So you have acne and skin rashes, allergies, arthritis and joint pain, autoimmune disorders, cardiovascular disease, chronic fatigue, constipation, diabetes, diarrhea, fibromyalgia, headaches, hormone imbalance, inflammatory disorders, IBS, neurological disorders, and obesity, stroke, overweight. Now, isn't that interesting?